Startup companies are dead. You do not want to be starting a startup company. Most startup companies, when there was that startup company boom in Silicon Valley from like 2010 to like 2016, most of those people, most of those kids and interns and students that graduate from most of these Ivy League schools and go to Silicon Valley to get some sort of a job at some of these startups, they work there for 2 years and then they switch out. They go to another FANG company, or now I think it's called like MAGA. Now you got Meta, Amazon, Google, and Apple. Go figure, MAGA. But any of these locations, people just want to get a little bit of experience and move on to the next company. Nobody wants to invest all their time into a company, partly because maybe the equity splits is not sufficient. But that's beside the point. If you wanted to become a powerful person in the 20th century, you started a startup company. Apple, IBM, Microsoft, Epic Games, Nvidia, any of these. If you wanted to get a piece of the riches, you had to start a startup company. But in the 21st century, you do not want to be starting a startup company. The 21st century, mark my words, will be about starting startup cities. Because the purpose of a business or corporation, as Milton Friedman once said, is to maximize profits. But the sole purpose of a community is to maximize the potential of every member. So for example, if you look at the valuation of Nvidia, it's over $3 trillion. If you count every single employee in Nvidia, they have about 29,000 employees. That means every single employee, bare minimum, is making 6 figures. Some people may be making 7, some people may be making 8. But by and large, there isn't a single person who's making less than 6 figures at Nvidia. But then you take a country like India that has 1.9 billion people, and their GDP yearly is around $3 trillion, equivalent to Nvidia. Nvidia has a fraction of the amount of people that India has, but they're producing much more than in the entire country of India, at least in the economic sense. Obviously there's other variables and factors to success and life and value, but if we're just talking money or currency or transaction volume, Nvidia's got India beat. So what does that mean? There needs to be more synchronization going on. You get more synchronization when everyone has a piece of the pie, when there's more equity. Most corporations nowadays, for Gen Z, you don't get a piece of anything. Say you want to work at a franchise at Chick-fil-A. You have to work there for 10, 15 years, and then maybe you may be able to get your own franchise. If you put up the money or you put yourself in debt, and then you're stuck to that franchise and that chain for the rest of your life. And then you try to own a couple franchises. Most of these, and the thing is, why would you even want to own most of these franchises? Those locations are selling poison. There's nothing noble about owning a whole bunch of franchise of fast food restaurants. Wake up. Startup companies serve the customer. Startup cities serve the citizen.